Welcome to the Poetry Moment, featuring Ocean of Grass by Edward Hirsch. I'm Chania Hudson. Loneliness blows through this poem. Hirsch wrote this poem, he said, as an homage to our pioneer mothers. He read diaries of women from the prairies of Kansas and Nebraska from the mid-1800s, when the US government opened the land to resettlement by people of European ancestry. The women who lived on their claims on the beautiful but bleak landscape of the Midwest were isolated, not just by the distance, but by the flat, treeless land. In his interview on Hoko Palizzo's show, The Writing Life, Hirsch said, "I wanted to try to honor the loneliness that so many of those women felt when they came to the Midwest." Poet Dana Goodyear wrote in the Los Angeles Times Book Review that Hirsch's poems are compassionate, reverential, sometimes relievingly ruthless. With a career that has spanned from 1981 to the present day, Hirsch has won awards from the National Book Critics Circle, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Guggenheim and MacArthur Foundations. He also wrote a beloved book that became a national bestseller called How to Read a Poem and Fall in Love with Poetry. Hirsch chose to write this poem as a villanelle, a 19-line poem based on the Italian folk song with 2 rhymes and a repeating phrase throughout the poem. The poem marries its villanelle form to the topic of lonely women in a desolate landscape. Hirsch explained, in his broad Chicago accent, that there's a kind of obsessiveness in this refrain. He said, "Most villanelles fail when you read them. The repetitions don't gain power as they grow. The repetition of the ground was holy and the wind was harsh has to mean something more when you repeat them. It has to accrue meaning. The haunting details of women seeking comfort in the company of sheep, or weeping when they see a tree, or living in a sod hut for 30 years, Hirsch said, are almost unbearable." And now, Ocean of Grass by Edward Hirsch.
So, Ocean of Grass. The ground was holy, but the wind was harsh. An unbroken prairie stretched for hundreds of miles so that all she could see was an ocean of grass. Some days she got so lonely she went outside and nestled among the sheep for company. The ground was holy, but the wind was harsh, and prairie fire swept across the plains, lighting up the country like a vast tinderbox until all she could see was an ocean of flames. She went 3 years without viewing a tree. When her husband finally took her on a timber run, she called the ground holy and the wind harsh, and got down on her knees and wept inconsolably, and lived in a sod hut for 30 more years, until the world dissolved in an ocean of grass. Think of her sometimes when you pace the earth, our mother, where she was laid to rest. The ground was holy, but the wind was harsh for those who drowned in an ocean of grass.